Welcome to the world of stereo, everybody. Ride with Ryan here, back again. Gonna do an on-bike review today. For those new riders out there considering buying their first bike, I'm gonna let you know if the Ninja 300 is the bike for you. Stay tuned. So guys, I'm just going to get into the details exactly how I feel about the bike. I've had almost 500 miles of riding on it, so I've established enough of an opinion about the bike where I can give you an honest assessment and hopefully an unbiased one. So I say overall, the bike feels really good when you're riding it. It's extremely nimble. You're able to flick it around very easily. And that's what I've always heard is one of the big perks to riding on the Ninja 300 is that you can take twisties way better than the leader bikes, and oftentimes you can either keep up or do better in them. So that's what I've noticed, which makes it a great starter bike. It really does. I can tell you that the flickability is the one thing I think that's keeping me totally locked in with this bike. Because if it were heavier, I think I would have found myself in some trouble. You know, I've taken a few turns where for just a second, you know, my ass puckered up and I'm thinking, uh-oh. And then just in time, not just in time, I'm not going to make it seem like I'm ready to fly off a cliff, but I was able to save the bike before I got into trouble. So had I hopped on an R6 or CBR, I think that I would have found myself in some trouble. But I do feel completely in control when I'm riding the bike. There's never a point that I'm thinking that it's too much for me, that the bike is more than I can handle. I've yet to run into that. So as far as how I feel on the bike when I'm trying to pick up speed, trying to accelerate, I do feel like it lacks a little bit in that category. But mind you, I didn't buy the bike for the power of it. I obviously knew and tempered my expectations when it came to that, because it's a 300, you know, it's not a 6 or an, you know, 1,000. I mean, it's a 300, so you got to have that in mind when you buy the bike. You're definitely going to have moments where you're probably wanting a little bit more. The thing that I notice a lot when I'm getting up in speed, I'm just not used to riding in this high of RPMs. My WRX redlines at 6,500 and this redlines at 13. So it's probably just the fact that I'm getting used to the bike. I will tell you, I'm just not used to riding at 8,000 RPM while on the highway. It just seems excessive, but you know, I guess these bikes are built for that. My personal opinion is it's just me being me. I'm just not used to it. Lost plate. Interesting. Why are people so stupid? Thanks, man. You hear that? Nice bike, man. So see, verdict has it, it's a nice bike. No, it really is a nice bike though. I don't know if you could hear him, but guy leaned out of his car to say it was a nice bike. You know, I've only owned the bike again for less than 500 miles, and I've probably had that comment made 5 to 6 times already. Now, that's probably a common thing amongst all bikes. People just think a bike is cool, period. It'd have to look pretty shitty to not look like a cool bike. We'll get to the looks of the bike a little later. So, cornering is extremely easy on this bike. Now, in West Virginia, there's a lot of twisties, a lot of sharp turns, so it's twisty heaven. This bike, I would say, would be a fantastic commuter bike. So if you're looking for a bike that's going to be something that you're going to take to work, or take long trips in. It's very comfortable. My ass never gets tired from sitting on it. I haven't ridden for more than an hour and a half straight, but on the time that I have ridden, I've yet to feel uncomfortable. My arms haven't been tired, my back hasn't hurt, my ass hasn't fallen asleep. None of those things have happened. Now this is the ABS model, so it's also going to be very safe when it comes to braking. Now I've heard from numerous riders, hey, don't get used to the ABS because there's going to be a bike one day you have that doesn't have it. And I haven't even had the necessity of using the ABS, but it's nice to know that it's there because it could save my life one day, and it was extra couple $100 to get the bike with the ABS, and what the hell, why not? And another point to be made while on the topic of commuting with the bike, you're going to get somewhere around 60-70 miles per gallon on this thing. But I have yet to really utilize the bike for that purpose because, you know, I've been mainly on back roads and side streets and that kind of thing, similar to today. But, you know, I'm probably getting somewhere between 40 and 50 miles per gallon, maybe higher. I haven't tracked it. Now, as far as the mirrors are concerned, I finally got them adjusted just right, but I still find myself having to tuck my arms in to see out of my mirror. Not so much on this side, but on this side. So maybe it's just that I haven't tweaked them enough, but I've been struggling to see out of them very, very easily since the day I bought the bike. And I read that I'm not the only one, that there have been a few similar complaints from others that had this bike. So that is a safety concern, but there's nothing that a quick head turn, you know, shoulder check, or just fiddling with the mirrors a little more is going to do for you. But obviously your left mirror on roads like this is far more important. And then as far as the looks of the bike, I'm going to get more into detail when I do an off-bike review, but it's a very sharp looking bike. I think that's one of the most appealing aspects of this bike, is that it provides that look that a lot of people are looking for. If you're looking for a sexy looking bike, then you don't have to look much further than the Ninja 300. So I'm going to just rehash and go over pros of the bike. Pro number one is you have the ability to flick it around very easily. I mean, you can see how easily I'm bending the bike around. It's very, very easy to do, and I love that part about it. Benefit number two, gas mileage. Benefit number three, it's going to be the looks of the bike. Fantastic look. Benefit number four, it's going to be that it's very safe. It's going to be one of those bikes that isn't going to overpower you. This bike is what you would consider one of the slower ones, and I've yet to really even ride it fast, and I'm having fun on it. And then some cons for the bike. The sound, maybe my biggest con. Luckily, it's one I can change. It doesn't have that nice powerful oomph to it. It's somewhat scooter-like. And no knock on the scooters, but I didn't buy one and I don't want it to sound like one. It also plays into safety when nobody can hear you coming. Not only the sound of the exhaust, but the look. I don't like the look of the exhaust pipe. I just don't like it. Just not a fan. I personally think that it looks a little tacky. I understand what they were going for, so that's one thing that I would recommend changing pretty quickly when you become an owner of a 300. All in all, if I were to give this bike a rating out of 10, which for whatever reason that's the way I seem to rate everything, I'd give it probably an 8.5. There aren't a whole lot of cons to it. It's the sound, the look of the exhaust, the mirrors, and I can't really complain about the speed or the power of the bike, because that's what you expect when you buy a 300. You're not expecting the power of a liter bike, so to complain about it isn't even fair. It's not what the bike's built for. So please, for those of you that have this bike or are looking to get this bike, just know that this bike is not built for speed. It's not built for power. So the bike retails for, I believe it was $54.99. I got it for much less than that. I believe I got it for $48, and I was very happy with that price. But great bike. I'd highly recommend it to new riders. And if you'll commonly see on YouTube with some of the bigger motor vloggers out there that they end up keeping their 300 and getting a bigger bike. So That's something that I may end up doing one day, because I'm probably not a year or two out from wanting to upgrade the bike. Once I really hone in my riding skills, it's probably going to be what I do. But the bike is fine. The bike is not something that I've grown out of yet in my 3 months of owning it, or 2 months of owning it, I guess. I haven't reached that point yet, and it's probably going to be a while before I do, because I'm still making mistakes that would probably front side me on a leader bike. Guys, if you have any questions about the bike, please ask me. I'd be happy to answer anything for you. I can tell you anything that you want to know. I can tell you my future plans for the bike, but I give you a short list of pros and cons. I just weighed on the heavier subjects, because this isn't a topic that I'm going to be bitching about, because all in all I'm happy with the bike, and I don't want it to sound like I'm not. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks again for viewing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'm constantly doing reviews on my gear, any new parts that I may put on in the near future, and of course the standard moto vlog, which I've put up a few. And stay tuned also, because there'll be a giveaway sometime coming up. If not for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, then maybe for, you know, a random milestone of some kind. But I'm happy to sub back to you as well, so let me know that you subscribe to the channel, and I'll be happy to do the sub back to you if I enjoy your content, which I'm sure I will. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for you, and I'll catch you next time.